our hospitals. I'm going to keep going over this with people because this was just a few weeks ago. So I want everyone to kind of not lose track of history we just lived through. For that period in March where we saw a sudden upsurge into April, the focus was on saving lives. And the way to save lives was to keep the hospitals going. And the way to keep the hospitals going was to make sure that we were protecting our healthcare workers, and obviously very much related, our first responders, who were doing everything to get people to the hospital and protect lives in so many ways. We needed to ensure that we had enough personnel. We needed to ensure we had enough PPEs. That was a struggle throughout. We remember those horrible days where we weren't sure we were going to have enough ventilators. That was until just a couple of weeks ago. And those hospitals, particularly the public hospitals and the independent hospitals, are the ones who in fact serve NYCHA residents, and that's where people were going to be saved. So that's what we had to prioritize. The testing we did in front of the hospitals was to help separate the folks who really needed to come in immediately and be addressed versus folks who did not need to be hospitalized, and that was to protect the capacity of the hospitals to keep going. And to protect people who, we didn't want anyone in a hospital setting where they might be exposed to the disease if they didn't need to be there. So everything was this kind of last line of defense, and I talked about it very vividly in those days. The hospital system in general was our last line of defense, and we were trying to hold that. The notion of having the personnel, the PPEs, the pure testing capacity, the kits, to do something really broad at a community level would have been impossible just a couple of weeks ago. So now that we finally are starting to get these supplies and we're finally getting some relief, it makes all the sense in the world to now focus outward and start pushing the resources outward to the maximum extent possible and reach the community level where the need is greatest. We're going to keep doing that, and then that's going to segue into this much bigger plan around testing and tracing and the follow-up we'll do. Remember the PPE issue here. We're not out of the woods on that. Even this week, we're still struggling to get all the surgical gowns we need. So I want people to remember when we talk about testing, it's still going to always come down to, do we have enough personnel? Do we have enough PPEs? Do we have enough test kits? Do we have enough lab capacity? And that's been a very tenuous reality until just now. And it will still be a challenge for us going forward. So we're always going to be honest about that. So that's to what I would say to NYCHA residents, that we had to do what we had to do to save lives and protect people and protect the hospitals. Now we're in a position to go out to communities much more deeply. The first part of the question, I want to hear that again. I don't know if Andrew is still out there.
It's about ready responders. The governor announced a partnership with ready responders going door to door, or is the city a part of that?
Yes, indeed. So that idea, I want to give credit where credit is due. It originated with Congressman Greg Meeks, and he and I first talked about it, I'm thinking something like 10 days ago, 12 days ago. Our team has been working with Congressman Meeks and with ready responders. In fact, Dr. Varma spoke with the lead medical officer for ready responders to figure out